positivity, motivation, never settle for average. You know how we do it over here? You know, I was just thinking about the matrix, the narrative, the agenda, the program, whatever you want to call it, and how it only works if you believe it. If you don't believe it, it doesn't work. You can create your own reality. Just like I was sharing with you about, money the other day and how it's a tool. And, some people don't look at it like that. They look at it as being, scarce, and, they make a little bit and they try to save as much as they can because they don't know how to make it work for them. Other people, they know not, so they pray to something somewhere and hope something just comes out of the sky and saves them, when they don't realize that they have the ability to save themselves. Anger over what you see on a news commentary, but you've bought into that anger, or you bought into that fear. All these things that they put together to kind of manipulate you into believing certain things, and you not knowing that it's your mind. If it's your mind, why do you have to buy into what somebody else has told you that you have to buy into? Why aren't you questioning that which seems somewhat suspect? See, there are certain people that question everything, and then you have people who question nothing. And then you have those in between, where you question something, but then you want to see proof. Well, the more you start to question things, the more you can see that a lot of shit is just straight cap. It's bullshit. It's out here to keep us arguing, to keep us on a low frequency, fear-based, spiritual vibration. See, if you have a high, happy, positive spiritual vibration, nothing can stop you. You can't be hoodwinked. You're not buying into the bullshit. You're not miserable. You're happy. You're not drinking. You're not doing drugs. You're not, living in negativity. You're helping people. People are helping you. Life is beautiful. But if I can get you on that low frequency shit, that frequency that puts you in a trance, that has you second guessing life, your purpose, your abilities, your potential, I got you. I could drop something on social media or the news and you'll react just like a bomb. I could set you off. They know that. They studied all this stuff. The best example is what we experienced over the last probably 3 or 4 years with that quote unquote lockdown. People were working from home. People had all this time on their hands. Schools were shut down. People were learning, were supposed to be learning online. They had a lot of time on their hands. And what did they do during that time? They pumped out all type of narratives, all type of agendas. And it was a big push on a lot of vibrations that were meant to literally destroy the soul, to break you down. See, a lockdown in prison, it separates, divides, and it really puts your mind in a state of why it has purpose. When you're sitting in a lockdown, you're thinking damn, how'd I get here? And when is it going to end? And that's in prison. And you can't, it ends, you're still locked up. But they had the lockdown psychology on the streets to the point where people were afraid to walk outside. There were lines going to the grocery store. People were 6 feet apart on some bullshit. Some bullshit Fauci made up. And it's all coming out now, the bullshit. But look how they pushed that, and look how many people went for it, and then look how much it allowed other things to come into play. Because see, the lockdown separated you from your family, broke down your ability to socialize. People became scared. Other people who spoke out were chastised, they were ostracized, they were harassed. I mean, you had the racial divide come back real strong. You had all this other sexual narrative being pushed into schools when they, drug use, it escalated, mental health. You have people now arguing publicly about politics where they didn't really talk about that before. All crime, people who wouldn't normally been stealing and looting were out, burning police cars, stealing, rioting. You had all these different things going on. And so that whole lockdown played into a bunch of different things, and it was all by design. If you've ever had a friend, relative, or somebody that's been locked down in prison for any significant amount of time, especially in isolation, you can see that they have a tick, man, that something's missing. It takes a part of you while you're in there, unless you can somehow, meditate and recover that through some type of help or counseling or something. But it takes a part of you. I never spent a bunch of time in a hole. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm no shoe expert, but I know that isolation, what it does to people. I've seen people who have been isolated behind the wall and socially inside, when they get an opportunity to be around other people, they are very different. And if you look at just how now you have people that literally walk by each other and put their head down. They don't even know how to look up and talk to each other, man. People are fearful of making eye contact. And then you have other people who are just, acting like there's no consequence to their actions. I seen a guy the other day that said on the news, he was walking around just shooting at cars. I mean, what would possess a person to randomly just walk down the street and shoot at cars that they drove by? And there's an assumption that there's no consequence, or that very little will happen. It was a lot of things that took place over a short amount of time, and we haven't even probably seen the big part of how this is going to affect a lot of the young people in 5 years. These kids who, feel like they don't know how to fit in, and the whole just confusion thing with who you are. But going back to what I said, it only works if you believe it. If you kept a strong family structure, a strong structure among your tight-knit group of friends, then you knew that a lot of this was bullshit. I knew a lot of it was bullshit. I wasn't buying into any of it. My thing is, look, I'm gonna learn how to maneuver any which way. I'm not gonna let somebody corner me. I wasn't taking the flu shot in prison. Why am I gonna take it on the street? And then you have all these people backpedaling. Oh man, I didn't say this, I didn't say that. You didn't have to do this, you didn't have to do that. It's like, come on, man. Stick by your guns. You were speaking one way, don't flip it now. See, you can't have the yin without the yang, man. You have some people who think that things are all one way, but if you only seen one way, how would you know that there is another way? You have to have a reflection. And as you see what's going on around you in society, the games, the antics, and somebody got mad at me because they said, oh man, hardworking people, they're not slaves. I never said a hardworking person is a slave. I said that when you are dedicating your life to enriching someone else besides yourself, you are essentially a slave. Because at the end of the day, you should be enriching yourself. Now, in the process of enriching someone, you are also enriching yourself by building something that will allow you to be self-sufficient so that your family can not have to go through what you did to get to where you're at, so that they can be in a better financial position. Then the trade-off is worth it. Working with your hands, doing labor is not slave work. I'm saying it's slavery when you're exploited for your labor and you're not financially compensated in a way where you're able to eventually become your own boss. And maybe everybody don't want to become their own boss. That's fine too. I'm not saying everybody can be a boss. Not everybody can be a boss, but some people would rather be told what to do, and it's easier just to show up and get a check. And if you're happy with that, then hey, I'm not here to tell you whether, there's in slavery, it could be a kind of negative term, because, I'm not saying you're in bondage and you're under whip and chain and all this bullshit. I'm just saying as far as a concept of being independent. And then, because those, a lot of the time those same people complain or they get mad, but at the end of the day, it's a matter of how much effort do you want to put into managing your own finances and creating your own wealth. And when you don't want to do that, there's places where you can go and people will manage your life for you and pay you to do certain things, and they're going to ask of you certain tasks. Maybe 10, 12-hour days, maybe 6-day work weeks. So, like I said, don't get offended by the term slavery, because like I said, it only works if you believe. And if you complain about something but you continue to do it, I look at that as, consensual slavery, because you say you don't like it, but you continue to do it. I used to trip off of guys in prison that come in there and they go work in those factories, and basically they're slave shops. You're working for pennies on a dollar. I'm like, why didn't you just get a job on the street? It'd have been more freedom. You'd have more time to be with your family. I mean, why are you gonna come to prison now and work in those factories, sustaining the economic viability of this institution, in exchange for 3 meals and 10, 20, 15, 30 years? That makes no sense. Let them places collapse on their own. But it's no different than on the street. It's just like, you gotta know how to recognize your value and negotiate what you're worth. If you don't know how to negotiate what you're worth, then you're going to get exploited all day long. And why you think they have the collective bargaining agreement with the NBA, NFL, all these places? Because they know, the owners, oh man, we paid this guy 15, 20 million last year, but then they brought in $3 billion in advertising dollars. The players want a piece of that because they know they're putting their bodies through certain things, and that there's a lifespan on their career. Same thing, if you're working in society. I mean, you have so many years, and you got to think about, you work all those years and you miss a lot of things in your child's life, a lot of things in your life, places you could have been at and had experiences. You spent that time working for somebody else. And like I said, if you're cool with that, giving somebody else all your time, then in exchange for, some dollars in your pocket, money, what dinero, whatever you want to call it, negotiable instruments, then cool. All I really push is being able to ultimately have your own freedom. And if you can take care of your family, provide a roof over your head, enjoy personal time, and have the freedom to do what you want, And then, man, look, that's success right there. You know, you're not having to go somewhere and worry about somebody telling you you're late and you're fired. That's success. You're able to enjoy life. You know, this game only works if we believe it. And destroying our mental health, having us go at each other, having us create all these different conflicts, all this separation, all this divide, all these wars. That's a part of their plan so that it can keep funding their lifestyle. That's not, kids going to war is not funding, that's not helping the families of those people. You could come back and what you get a folded flag and a you know, maybe some medals. Come on, man. Your family should be multi-millionaires if you sacrifice your life. People calling the shots, they got big government contracts. They're getting paid, and they ain't seen any type of gunfire. I don't know. I just want to share that with you, man, because I was just, you know, thinking about just how, you know, this game only works if we believe it. And that's why they say, you know, when you say you are something and you believe it, you create it, you vibrate and you attract that like. And the more you can figure out how to vibrate and believe in that which you wish to create, you can separate yourself from this bullshit matrix, which has you really trapped in a program rather than create your own program within the matrix, because there are programs within that will allow you to have the blessings that you're entitled to, that you should be enjoying and sharing with your family and your friends and the people around you. So it only works if you believe. BigHerc916.com. Go pick you up some merch. Father's Day's right around the corner. Make sure everybody around you washes their ass. And subscribe and share the channel, man. Like to keep you.
Officially, I only got one real spanking my entire life. My mom did the best a 14-year-old could do, raising me with love and instilling values that will last a lifetime. I was a straight-A student and lived to make her happy. So how did I go astray? A horrible stepdad that stole my self-worth and invoked fear turned me into a person that I struggled to overcome. From skateboarding to selling drugs, gang banging in juvenile hall, I got caught the same way many young promising men get caught up. I struggled to find my identity, getting mixed up in shootouts, crime, and the adult entertainment industry. This roller coaster continued as I juggled college, hustling, and Hollywood, eventually catching a federal bank robbery case. I found redemption in prison while serving a 120-month federal sentence and came out a man on a mission. I became a social media influencer with over 500 million views on YouTube and a life coach mentoring people all over the world. This is my journey.
Are you tired of smelling funky? Have you washed your ass? Go to BigHerc916.com and get your nutsack run.